Hi, this is Survivor from Scrappy Mania, and today in Scrapping Therapy, I'm going to use one of these canvas panels that I've created with leftover paint, and I'm going to be using these Portfolio, which are oil-soluble crayons, to create kind of like a branch or something like that, some kind of flower. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So what I want to do is create kind of a 5-leaf flower. Maybe a similar, and I'm using a General Sketch and Wash. So when you put water on this thing, it does blend in. So I'm going to attempt to do 5 leaves, and let's see if I'm successful in creating 5 leaves. So I'm making a bunch of 5-petal flowers, and some are 3 petals or 4 petals. And they're not perfect, but once you start painting them, it's going to look pretty nice. So I'm going to start with the flowers, and then I'm putting branches and leaves around the flowers, as you can see here. So now I'm going to go with my Portfolio, and I'm laying down the white, but as you can see, my white is kind of dirty because it's in this case, but that's okay. You just lay down your white. These are oil soluble, so that means they're oily. So even though they're water soluble, it's not the same as watercolors, and it's not really the same as your wax pastels. It's a little bit of both. You get the consistency of the wax pastel, and you do get a little bit of the soluble properties of watercolor crayons or watercolors, but it's a little different. It doesn't really dissolve as much, but I do like it. I mean, we have to use the supplies we have, and if you're starting out making mixed media panels or journals, these Portfolio are excellent for that because it's not a lot of money. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg for these, and your project look nice. So I'm just using my glass mat to put my oil pastels on, and then using water to blend it a little bit. And what I want to do is I want my flowers to really pop, or my branch to really pop. And in order to do that, I have to make the background a little darker so that way it actually stands out a little more on here. And it's not looking as how, you still want to play with your project or your mixed media panel. Sometimes it doesn't look exactly how you want it, but as you put more layers upon layers and you start playing with it and working with your project, it starts getting better. So at this stage, I really wasn't excited about it, and things were getting lost, so that's why I decided to use this pink and trying to define my flowers a little more, the centers and also the edges, so each petal you can see them better. And then I'm using my water and my brush to help blend it in. And as you can see, it's blending, but not the same as watercolors. So it's not going to be the same property as if you were blending with your watercolors or even with your acrylic paints. They're very different, which is not a bad thing. It's good to experiment with different mediums, so that way you start learning which one you like best. Now, one thing that I do recommend is you need a stiff brush in order to push these crayons when you add water, to push it around and to blend it. If you try to use a watercolor brush, it's not going to work. You really need an acrylic or even an oil paint brush, which are stiffer and they're not as flexible as a watercolor brush. So I'm just making sure everything is dry. And now I want to go ahead and outline my flowers. So I'm learning with this page, and I just learned that my inks, my India ink, I try to use that to outline the flower. It's really not working because the medium that I'm using is water. It's oil pastel, water soluble oil pastel. So it's repelling the ink. It's not letting it absorb. So I'm able to blot it off a little bit. And now I'm going to try the ink and wash on charcoal pencil that I was using to outline my flowers. It does work nicely. You can see it there. It's not that bad. But in a moment you'll see me that I switch over to Estabilo. I really love the Estabilo. Those type of pencil, the Estabilo pencils, really work well for mixed medias, for the different type of mediums out there. So what was happening, as you can see, it was not really making it as dark as I wanted, and the oils were accumulating on the tip of my pencil. So then I decided to experiment with this marker. It's kind of similar to a Pitt pen, and I'm going through my flowers. Again, it looked okay, but it was not. I really wasn't happy with it. So this time I decided to pull my big guns and just look for my Stabilo. And at the end, that's what I use to outline all my branches in my flower. And it's because, as you can see, if you look at the some of the flowers, it really doesn't stand out. But when I went over with my darker outline, or my Stabilo, I feel like it really defines the flower, and it helps it just stand out a little more. And look how it does. I really like how it brought some more definition to these flowers. And I'm also creating a little bit of shading in the middle. And I still wasn't that happy with my project, so I decided to bring out my acrylic ink, or my acrylic. This is actually a what's it called, a speedball acrylic ink. And it really, again, because I was using a wax medium, it was really interfering with my pen. It was not really allowing me to put it on as I would like it to be on this project. But I still went through it. I mean, I just put a lot of ink on my pen and just went with it. So now it's completely dry, and see how it looks nice after it dried with those little splashes. It does look nice. So now I do like it. So I think it's missing a saying. So let's go ahead. I'm going to find a saying, and I'm going to place it here, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got a pen, and maybe I should practice first. Let's see if I have some paper around here that I can practice on. And then I'll see. So I'm practicing my calligraphy using thin and thick. So you want to go thicker at the downstroke, thinner at the upstroke. So you're going to release some of the pressure when you go up, and put more pressure on your tip of your pen when you go down. And I wanted to, so there I made a mistake, so I had to fix it and put blessing instead of with 2B. So here, even though I made a mistake, that's fine. It's going to go in my art journal, so I hope you like this video, and thank you for watching. Bye now.